All right, guys, so probably one of the most hypocritical things as an instructor that I teach to my students, and if you've ever been a student of mine, this was one of the first things you learned as soon as we got in the water in your first pool session. But one of the hypocritical things that I teach to you as a student that I don't actually do as a diver, let alone being an instructor, is wear a snorkel. I do not wear snorkels. I can't stand snorkeling. Unless I'm snorkeling or free diving, I do not wear a snorkel when I'm scuba diving. But I do wear them before the dive. Let me explain how. What's up, guys? It's Bryan again from Lake Hickory Scuba and Marina. If you are new to our channel, do me a huge favor. Hit this little subscribe button right here and ding that little bell as well. That way you guys are going to be notified every time we upload new content. Now, as I stated in the teaser, we're going to be talking about snorkels and how they are very impractical to a scuba diver when they're actually diving underwater. Now, I will state they are great at the surface because they allow us to swim to our destinations without wasting our back gas. They're also great if we are using them, say, in a rescue scenario, but in general, using them underwater is impractical and it can be very unsafe to do as well. Whether it creates an entanglement hazard or it gets in the way of you manipulating your mask, they are just not that practical when they're underwater. Well, what I'm going to do today for you is I'm going to show you the exact snorkel that I use when I go diving, and I'm going to show you how I stow it and where I put it when I'm actually diving versus being at the surface. Now, I do want to make a quick disclaimer. If you feel comfortable using a snorkel while diving, by all means, put it on your mask, set it, forget it, don't worry about it, and simply go diving. But I feel confident in saying that about 95% of divers, after their open water program, they get rid of the snorkel, or they'll change out to a snorkel that can very easily be stowed away until they need it. And I know there's going to be tons of open water instructors that's going to slam this video and say, but Bryan, you know, it's training standards, training standards, training standards. Yes, I get it. Even SSI in training standards says a diver must be or have a total dive system to go out here and train with, and part of the total dive system is the total snorkel system, and part of that total snorkel system is the snorkel. But nowhere in training standards does it say they actually have to wear it while diving. It just says they got to use it when they're at the surface, and there's only a select few skills that they actually do it on. The snorkel swim at the surface, the head first dive when they go down and they clear the snorkel, and then during the 2 emergency ascents, or really 3 emergency ascents, when they come up and we're simulating they're out of air, they can simply switch over to it. But I got to ask you questions. How many times have you actually ran out of air when diving? We're taught all these other skills that prevents that, i.e. checking your gauges, staying close to your buddy. How many times do you actually run out of air and really use your snorkel at the surface at the end of the dive? Now, I will state I've used my snorkel plenty of times before a dive and after a dive, but I've never used it attached to my mask while I was actually underwater. So let's jump over here so I don't get too much into a rant. I'm going to show you some snorkels, show you how they're being used, and then I'm actually going to take you on a dive down in Bon Air and show you how I use them when I'm saying in a tropical destination and where I actually use a snorkel that it's actually practical. All right, guys, let's take a really quick look at the different types of snorkels, especially the ones we sell here, and I'll kind of really give you a rundown of how they're actually used. So the first, of course, is the dry top. Basically, it's just a tube snorkel. You got a mouthpiece. Sometimes you'll have a purge button. They're kind of corrugated, so they're a little bit flexible for you. You do have an adjustment clip here, and then, of course, you have a dry top. With the dry top, the great thing about these is if you're snorkeling or, say, free diving, this stays in your mouth. As you go underwater, the valve shuts off. No water gets in the snorkel. It makes it very easy to clear as soon as you pop back up. Now, if you're a little bit more advanced, you can get away with not having a dry top. You can drop down to an open top. Here's an open top, and you'll notice it is actually the exact same snorkel. It just has an open top versus, say, the dry top. And if you're more comfortable just, expelling that water out by simply just blasting it out, by all means, you can get away with this and not have to spend the money on the dry top. Now, jumping on down, we've actually got a free diving snorkel. This is actually designed for free divers, not just snorkelers, and it's a little bit say more basic, more plain. There's really not much to it. It's just an open top. It's very short. It does have a little bit of adjustment here, so you can slide it around your mask or adjust it up or down. But the really great thing is it's super lightweight, so when you are free diving, you can actually pull it out of your mouth. It doesn't create a lot of drag when you're down there, but you can very easily just pop it right back in. And then we have my snorkel of choice, which happens to be the roll-up snorkel here from XS Scuba. And yes, there are plenty of different brands out there that makes a roll-up snorkel. I'm just kind of partial to XS Scuba. I think they make a very good product. You can get it in the black or you can get it in the clear. I actually use the clear version over the black version for a very specific reason. Since I leave mine rolled up mostly and kept in a pocket until I actually need it, the clear version is going to allow me to see if all the water's cleared out, if there's any mold or mildew that builds up in there, to where the black version doesn't actually allow you to do that. So you got to be a little bit more careful when you're cleaning this just to make sure it gets dried out. But by far, the roll-up snorkel, in my opinion, is the best snorkel for scuba diving. And yes, specifically for scuba divers. If you're free diving, get you a free diving snorkel. If you're snorkeling, if you're advanced, get you an open top. If you're not advanced, get you a dry top. But for scuba, simply get the roll up. It can go in your pocket. You can stow it away. It's not creating that drag or that entanglement when it's on your mask. And as I've showed in plenty of videos, it's very easy to pop it out, attach it to your mask when you need it. So let's go down on an actual dive here, and I'll show you how I use it before a dive and when I actually attach it to my mask at the end of the dive as well, so that it's there when I need it. So as I stated earlier, guys, I don't wear a snorkel on my mask while diving. I only wear it if I'm actually snorkeling or free diving or doing something on the surface. Underwater, it's just not very practical for me. Now, as a side mount diver, I typically always have some type of butt pouch with me, and it makes it very easy to stow away in that butt pouch until I actually need it. If you're not a side mount diver, you don't wear a butt pouch, you can get a smaller pouch. You can put it in a BC pocket. If you're in a dry suit, by all means, you can put it in your dry suit pocket. And I'm not saying you can't wear it on your mask at all times. It's just not practical, and it does induce or create some type of entanglement. It can create drag, and it can dislodge your mask. Sometimes I've heard divers have to really tighten up their mask to prevent it from being dislodged or leaking. So typically speaking, when I'm underwater, I don't wear the snorkel. I only wear it when I'm at the surface. We're, at the beginning of the dive here, and we've got a very long surface swim, so it will be practical to put it on and use the snorkel as we're headed out during the surface swim as well. That way I'm not wasting the gas that's in my cylinder just to get to the dive site. And sometimes it depends on the surface water itself. If it's very wavy, a lot of surge, a lot of, surf coming in and out, I will typically just still use my regulator if I have to instead of the snorkel. That can help prevent any water from going in the snorkel. Now, if you got a dry top snorkel, by all means, that fixes the problem too. But with dry top snorkels, they're not very practical to fold up because they're usually a lot stiffer tube than what the roll-up type is. But when do I actually deploy the snorkel while diving? Well, simply put, during my safety stop. I've got 3 minutes to kill to really just sit there and relax. This is a great opportunity for me to pull the snorkel out, deploy it. There's not going to be that many problems, say from 15 feet to the surface, and I can very easily attach it to my mask. Unlike the snorkels back in the day where you had to use the snorkel keepers, which was this little double looped, think of a figure 8 or the number 8 shape device that you had to slide part of it on the tube, then part through your mask and the other part on the tube. All snorkels today have these quick little clips. They're very easy just to snap on your mask. You don't even have to remove your mask to do it. As you can see, I'm just very easily snapping it to my mask, getting it adjusted, getting it ready, so that once I do pop up to the surface, I can begin using it again, and it didn't create drag when I was underwater by simply leaving it on there. And then, of course, I can use it to swim back to shore at the surface, or if I did need it at the surface for whatever reason, it's there, it was ready and easy to deploy. I didn't have to wear it on my mask the entire time of the dive. So there you go, guys. That's how I personally use a snorkel when I'm out diving, whether I'm in my local lake or in a quarry or even in a warm tropical destination like Bonaire or Curacao or Cozumel, or you pick your flavor of the week. That is how I personally use a snorkel. I have nothing against any of these other snorkels. I just do not believe they are practical for scuba divers. And this is something I've actually fought the industry on for a very, very long time. I would love to see training agencies change their standards or make it more practical for divers. Yes, I do believe you need to be trained on how to use a snorkel. Yes, I believe it should be part of the training progression. But no, I do not believe that you should have to wear a snorkel at all times while training for scuba diving. If there are certain skills that you're doing, sure. But the roll-up snorkel is a very practical use, or has a practical use to scuba divers, and I would like to see more people using that as well. Let me know down in the comment section below, which do you prefer, and did your instructor allow you to actually remove it from your mask during training? I will state this, training agencies, their standards are kind of vague in the way they're written. I'll just give you a great example here. SSI says all divers must have a total dive system when training. Part of that total dive system, of course, is the total snorkeling system, which is mask, fins, and snorkel. However, it does not specifically say they must wear it. And I know somebody's going to say, but they're designed to be worn, so you should wear it. That's true, but it doesn't specifically say that, at least with SSI it don't. And the other 4 agencies that I've been an instructor for, it never said that it had to actually be attached during the entire dive. And if we think about, say, the accessory system, there's a lot of accessories that divers take with them. Flashlights, SMBs, reels, and other accessories that we keep stowed away until we actually need them. We don't actually, dive around with, say, an SMB pre-deployed and we're carrying it underwater like this. No, we keep it rolled up, we keep it into our pocket till we need it, or we keep it clipped off, then we'll unclip it, pull it out of our pocket, and deploy it as needed. Snorkels are absolutely no different. We can very easily keep them rolled up, keep them in a pocket, and deploy them when we need it. And as you can tell in this video, it's very easy to do with a little bit of practice. But guys, yeah, let me know what your thoughts are down below. Do you like snorkels? Do you wear snorkels? If you do, that's great. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I just don't believe it's very practical. But guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you got any questions, comments, or concerns, drop me a comment down below and let me know. Would you like to see your training agency standards changed as well? But that's going to do it for today. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.